Homes live here with Bayut. Find real and authentic properties using TrueCheck. Download the app or visit Bayut.com.
Fibha Ahmed's in the studio, Director of Sales at Dubizzle and Bayut. Morning, Fibha.
Good morning, Richard.
So, we've been asking you for about 3 years now, when is the Dubai real estate boom going to end? Well, we have an answer because your H1 report for 2024 is out and it hasn't stopped yet. Tell us the findings of your first half report.
Interesting you put it that way. It hasn't stopped yet. And when we look at the report, we can clearly see it has had a very strong first half of the year as compared to the last 6 months of 2023. And based on the numbers we see, based on the healthy transactions we see, it's here to stay for another few years.
Okay, so who's buying what? Let's break down the report into different, because you segment the real estate market here. We talk about the Dubai real estate market. Clearly, there's many real estate markets within that. So let's break it down. Should we start with super luxury?
Let's start with super luxury. What we've seen this year so far is that, yes, last year we've been making a lot of headlines on the most expensive houses bought around the globe. They were concentrated in Dubai. What we've seen so far this year, we have seen lesser number of properties that have been sold above 10 million USD price tag as compared to the last 6 months of 2023. However, we've seen a healthy increase and interest towards all the branded residences that are coming to the market. And you see some really cool and expensive villa communities also being launched in Talal Al Gaf, in branded Cavalli Estates in the Mac Hills, and Mohammed bin Rashid City, which are going to definitely garner a lot of interest in the coming months.
Okay, so these are sub $10 million, so sub 40 million dirhams, not the mega super luxury,
sure,
but obviously still expensive properties. And these are the kind of, is that the range for your branded residents?
So branded residents over the course of the last 12 months have kind of seen many variations come into play. One of the off-plan projects, which has launched in downtown, Mercedes-Benz by Benghazi, you would call it in the apartment segment a branded residence, and then higher you go. Last year we saw a lot of these come to the market with Bugatti, with Jacob & Co. What I've noticed this year so far, it has kind of started to cover more segments and kind of put branded residences into the hand of all segments of the market. Of course, when we talk branded, it doesn't mean that you can get an affordable price tag of 4 to 5 million. It has to be 10 million dirhams and above. And apartments tend to be in the mid-luxury segment, with the exception of penthouses, whereas villas, of course, tend to be on the super luxury segment.
We had an interview just before I went on holiday, so it would have been 2 weeks ago, Brandy, with Ziad Al Shah of Dar, the Saudi real estate developer, and there was a Trump residence, wasn't it?
It is indeed the tower, the Trump Tower for Jeddah.
Trump Tower in Jeddah, and Ziad Al Shah was here, and he's formerly CEO of DAMAC, so he's done Trump residence deals before. And was it you or Tom he spoke to? It was you, wasn't it? And what was his phrase that we remember? ROE when buying
return on
yes.
ego. For the brand, for branded residences, it's
Absolutely.
not just ROI.
Absolutely, that is a big player. I think that's one of the reasons that's driving all of this interest towards branded residences. And the more you play on that, I think higher the ticket that you can put on property. With the collaborations that you've seen with automotive in the last 12 months, of course, you would want to have a Bugatti residence or an Aston Martin villa. So, of course, ROE plays a very important role. Does it get the right ROI? I believe people buy it more for the prestige and the status and, of course, the comfort, luxury and living.
Okay, so pound for pound or square foot for square foot, I've got one tower on, I don't know, the Palm, somewhere nice, and it's super duper luxury. And next door, I've got a similar quality tower, super duper luxury, but it's got a brand, Armani, Ferrari, whatever it may be. What kind of a premium am I willing to pay for essentially comparable properties if they've got that brand on them?
Good that you asked about Palm. If you look at the stats for the last 6 months, you would see that an average transaction price for Palm Jumeirah is roughly around 4.5 million to 5 million, right? And that we can categorize as your regular residential property in Palm. I'm talking apartments. Now we've seen Armani Beach Residences that has launched in Palm Jumeirah, one of the top projects that has seen a lot of demand on our platform. That is priced at 21 million. And goes all the way up to 30 million and above. So you can see the difference that if you buy from a mid-tier or a good-tier developer in Palm, you're looking to dish out between 4 to 10 million for an apartment. Whereas if you move to brands, and bigger the brand, bigger the price ticket.
Right. That's your millionaires and billionaires. Happy days, nice for them. What about the affordable sector of the market? What have you seen there? How do you define the affordable sector, Fibha, when you look at it at Bayuzel and Dubout? Bayou to Bizzle.
I'm going to take the name out to the marketing team to see how they react to that.
How do you define affordable, and what are the dynamics that you're seeing there?
Good that you asked. When we talk about affordable, we'll have to segment the market, of course, into apartments and villas. And what we've seen in the first half of this year is affordable properties in the apartment segment have seen very steady interest, actually really high interest on the platform, whereas prices have kind of stayed very modestly increasing, 2%, 6%, 7%. However, one thing that stands out is the price appreciation for affordable townhouses. I'm talking the Mac Hills 2. I'm talking the Valley by Emar, which has started to hand over. These places have seen a very significant price hike in terms of, I'm looking at 20%, 76% in some areas for certain types. So I would say in the affordable segment, people are really gravitating towards the townhouse communities, whereas the apartments have seen stabilization.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking on Bayut now, for example, I've looked at Discovery Gardens, which is, I would just say, is relatively affordable community. Not cheap, but affordable.
Great for ROI.
Yeah, and I'm looking, the cheapest one-bed apartment I can find listed on your site is a one-bed, 860 square feet, 620,000 dirhams.
Yes.
I mean, that's not bad for a booming global city, for a nearly 1,000 square foot apartment to be paying $150,000.
There are pockets like Discovery Garden, you have your Sports City, you have Dubai Silicon Oasis. Of course, International City, we always talk about that, is one of the highest ROI areas. So these apartments are really, really good for investors, and I would strongly name the first-time investors who are looking to get a flavor of the real estate, and they're looking to invest and get some good rental yields. So when you buy these apartments, they're high in demand and they get really good rental yields.
What kind of rental yield are we looking at, net or gross?
So when I talk about rental yield...
You got about 20 seconds.
Okay, rental yield would be gross, and I would say some areas have topped 11%. Discovery Gardens is one of those. In our report this year, we've seen that people are really looking at these apartments. So you have Discovery Gardens, Port City, International City, and Silicon Oasis. These areas are garnering a lot of interest.
Fibha, always good talking to you. Appreciate your time this morning. Thanks very much indeed for being with us. Thoughts there of Fibha Ahmed, Director of Sales, deep breath so I say it properly, Dubizzle and Bayut.
Thank you.
Nailed it.
With Yas Island, Abu Dhabi.